Hello, everyone. It is your friend Chase from Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol up. Since I've noticed there's been some confusion over the docket pertaining to the status of Andrew Ditch and his bonds, I thought I'd give a little explanation on the current goings-on in the Andyverse. Or, the Huggies Hemisphere? The County of Crinkles? Well, anyway. Okay, so as you can see, this is the docket that is pertaining to Andrew Ditch and the events that happened in Cleveland, Ohio. We'll start from the bottom and move up a little bit. Let's see if I can increase the size of this a tad so we can get a better view. Perfect, thank you. So starting from the bottom, we see the date of offense. Now, this is interesting because this took place on 6/7/2023. So if you remember, I won't fault you if you don't, but 6/7/23 is kind of when he was still in Tonawanda, or not Tonawanda, but New York State at the New Fane Rehabilitation Center, and kind of between other hospitals at the time. So it's highly likely that this date of offense didn't actually take place in Cleveland, Ohio, despite what some of us may have thought from the recordings that came out around that time. However, when he did go to Cleveland, that would be around 7/23. So that is when he was causing trouble in the hospitals, calling 911 late in the road, all of the things that we saw in the various police reports, and the other information that came. So more than likely what I'm assuming happened is he did something back in New Fane, or one of the hospitals back in New York, where he caused some sort of disorderly conduct, perhaps was a police officer, maybe misusing 911, and that ended up giving him a time in which he was supposed to show up in court. And more than likely he fled to Cleveland, Ohio, because he knew that court date was coming up. This is a ongoing trend with Andy, where a lot of his quote-unquote autism flare-ups, and when he starts getting really panicky and weird, is because he's usually going to have to end up in court over something he's done. It happened in the past when he was at the local parks. The surety bond, which was set at $1,000. Now, this is something that's come up recently, or people don't quite understand this one, but basically given a felony for the things he did, which is kind of interesting because $1,000 for a felony is chump change. That's not really a very high amount, so that was already signs that something weird was going on. So in any case, he got the $1,000 bond, so he could either post the $1,000 outright or go to a bail bondsman and only have to pay maybe around 10% of that. Like, you'd pay the bail bondsman $100, no refunds, and they'd post $1,000 for you, and they would get the $1,000 back upon the defendant, or Ditch in this case, showing up in court. So that's how that works. So the first appearance was held on 7/31. Defendant declared indigent, there's that word again, which basically means he is broke. He is homeless, he's nobody, he has no money, he can't pay anything, so any costs imposed pursuant to blah 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 are hereby waived. So yeah, he didn't have to pay anything. And when you're indigent, you are offered a court-appointed attorney, as is your constitutional rights, by rights. And he loves to say, so he was going to be given an attorney, all at the taxpayer's expense. His bond amount was still $1,000, so even if you're indigent, I believe there's still, depending on what you have been charged with, a bond is still going to be applied. Like, just because you can't pay it doesn't mean there wouldn't be a bond. It might be, different in how it's handled, but for the most part, he still had a $1,000 bond. So we will look at 7/31 was his first appearance, and way down at the bottom, 7/23 is when he was arrested. So because he didn't post bond, it would have been listed on this docket. He was in jail for, how many days is that? 7 days, 8 days, 8 days in total. Or, wait, I cannot math. 8 days in total. So he was in jail that entire time. Now we go 2 days into the future, 3 days in the future. Per Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Teresa McKenna, charges will be terminated, as this is a misdemeanor bond changed to a personal bond. Okay, and now here's where a lot of confusion comes in, where I noticed people were confused about how he managed to post the bond, who posted the bond, and they were saying, like, oh, I hope the family didn't do it, I hope, I hope Julie in Cleveland didn't do it, but basically what ended up happening is because it was changed from a felony to a misdemeanor, the bond was changed from a, let's see how they word it over here, just a cash a surety bond to a personal bond. And what a personal bond is, it's like a personal recognizance bond where there actually is not a fee attached. There is a fee in the sense that, I suppose that there's just some sort of, like, it's not listed as 0, but it's basically, you don't have to pay anything and we trust you'll show up in court. So that's what ended up happening with the $1,000. Essentially, he was given the personal bond, which means he could get out of jail, he served his time, and he has to show up for this new misdemeanor charge that has been levied against him because the felony was reduced. So it'll say that if you look further up, second from the top, $1,000 personal bond posted on 8/2 by defendant. Yes, it was posted, but not by Andy. It was technically posted by the state in this imaginary, illusionary terms. Like, he didn't actually do it, the state did. And then if you look further up, it says, any cash monies on deposit are ordered returned to the depositor, which would be the defendant, which was, of course, he gave nothing, so the non-existent monopoly money went right back to him. So there you go. More than likely, I don't think this is going to be charged any further. He essentially spent upwards 7-10 days in jail over this whole thing, so they probably felt that he had gotten his due recompense for whatever nonsense that had gone on back in the New Fane or back in the other hospital. So I don't think they're going to pursue the misdemeanor further than this. We shall see. More than likely, I think we would have seen something else or something else filed. There'd be another docket floating around out there regarding a misdemeanor charge, and there isn't. So I think the whole thing is just closed up and dropped, and we'll basically be seeing more Andy in the future because he can't stop getting into trouble. And that is essentially the status of the case and the status of Andy. So I hope all enjoyed all this information. And once again, this is your friend Chase from Paw Patrol, and I will be pawing off